Well, Broncos country, a mile high salute to all of you guys, man. Some breaking news earlier in the night. I went and spent a little bit of time with some family members and some friends. But man, I wanted to talk about my heartbreak. My heart is hurting tonight. It was a great win yesterday. I love where the Broncos are at, being 7-5. But the mustache man, the long hair, my man Greg Dulcich has just been released. What does that mean for the Broncos? And what is this tight end room really shaping up to be like? Why was this move made? Let's talk about it. We'll get into it. If it's your first time on the channel, everybody, appreciate y'all tuning in, man. Thank you so much. Hit that subscribe button. It'll really help me out. I'm on a mission to get to 500 subs, and I'm working hard for y'all, man. I put a video out every single day. If you love Broncos, if you love Nuggets, if you love Avalanche, then give that little subscribe button a smashy for me, man. I appreciate you guys very much so in advance. All right, guys. It's a very tough day, man, in Broncos country. I don't know why this one really bothers me. It really does. But the Broncos have waived Greg Dulcich. We'll see what ends up happening. Obviously, he's subject to waivers, so the team could put a claim in, and he's on their squad. Maybe him and Sean Payton has some sort of an agreement that he'd be put on the practice squad in order to elevate, Drew Sanders, according to Mike Kliss, or maybe even Josh Reynolds. But this one bothers me, man. This one bothers me because I'm really confused as to what kind of tight end um, Sean Payton really wants. You know what I mean? Because I always like to look at the history, right? I always take a look at Sean Payton when back when he was with the Saints, and he had a guy named Jimmy Graham, and Jimmy Graham was an absolute beast, man. He had over 100 catches one of the years. He was an absolute stud, Pro Bowler every single year, All Pro type of player. And what's crazy about when I look back on it with Jimmy Graham, because I remember always being told like he doesn't really block, and I was like, let me go back and look. He doesn't block. He literally just used him as kind of an inline tight end that was a mismatch nightmare that would go out there and make plays. And so when you think about it, like why wasn't Greg Dulcich used to that caliber? It kind of gets me thinking because you've got a guy named Lil Jordan Humphrey. Lil Jordan Humphrey is, in my opinion, he adds no value to the team. I don't think that there's anything that he can do that Greg Dulcich can't do himself. So why not try to get somebody that's a little bit more explosive, a little bit more physical, and that can go out there and make some more plays in the pass game than little Jordan Humphrey. But I guess we'll go ahead and find out. I think if the Broncos end up getting him back on the practice squad, it'll be very telling. It'll kind of change the whole narrative, maybe of this video. Um, but I'm not even gonna lie. I'm usually always optimistic, and I try to tell myself. I kept telling myself tonight, just trust Sean Payton and what he thinks, and trust George Payton. They've kind of earned your trust back, and a lot of that is true. A lot of it is true. But another big thing for me is, Sean Payton in the offseason, and that's when you really want to pay attention to what Sean Payton says. Because Sean Payton in the offseason he's in a good mood. He's out there just, really talking about, he can't really help himself. He kind of just talks, he speaks his mind a little bit more than he does during the season. And he kept talking about Greg Dulcich, man. He would go out of his way to talk about Greg Dulcich and being in this Joker role and somebody that he felt like could be very, really productive for this team. And so you felt like that was going to happen. And then he's only given 2 games, 2 opportunities to end up, playing before he ultimately gets benched and is inactive every single day. And meanwhile, you have, players like Audric Esme, right? So he fumbles the ball. He gets a 1 game, basically like a 1 game in the coach's doghouse. And then you have, little Jordan Humphrey dropping balls like crazy, getting lucky that fumbles aren't being called. He's fumbling. He gets a pick that a ball throws a pick that ends up going off of his hands. A lot of that, and no repercussions. The guy's still playing 40 to 50% of the snaps. So it was really weird. It was really weird to me, and I'm curious if maybe he ended up, re-injuring himself, and that led to it. But I also kind of get it because there's a lot of you know what's the best way to say it? There's a little bit of a roster carousel that you're playing right now, right? I mean, you have to get Drew Sanders back if they want him, which I'm not really a big proponent of it. Uh, Shout out to David Talks Broncos. I was on his live stream earlier when he was talking about this exact same topic, and he had talked about he's not really a big fan of bringing Drew Sanders back, and I agree for a little bit of a different reason. He had talked about the guy's coming off of an Achilles, give him a whole year. Achilles injuries now are a little bit different. They have a new surgery that they use. You can usually get guys back within 4 to 6 months rather than 9 to 12 months like it used to be like an ACL. So I understand that he might actually be healthy, but my problem is that we're really deep pass rusher, and I don't want this to take away from guys like Andre Tillman, but it makes me think that maybe Sean Payton is just really overly bullish on somebody like Drew Sanders because he is a freak of nature, man, when it comes to um, his skill set overall, right? He was just like Riley Moss. He was considered to be one of the freaks of the draft. Super athletic, really, really good player, and somebody that I think that can be a an interesting uh, player to watch in this particular role. We didn't really get to see Drew Sanders as a pass rusher, so I guess we'll see. And I'm not overly worried about that. Like I'm fine with Drew Sanders being activated, but not necessarily at the expense of somebody like um, Greg Dulcich. But who knows, man? Maybe I'm overthinking, but I will go on the record to say this. I truly believe from the bottom of my heart that this is one of those players that the Broncos kind of let get away. I really do believe that. I think that they let somebody with a lot of talent that really could have been a good weapon on this team to to go somewhere else and shine. So that being said, man, I wish all the best for Greg Dulcich. And I might be really stupid for making this video in a sense of like he might end up just not really having any sort of a successful career at all. I mean, who knows? Who knows with the NFL? But I know what I've seen, man. I don't want to let my eyes deceive me. The guy had a crazy amount of talent, and for a team that has so I want to say so many holes, but even at 7-5, we still have quite a bit of holes in this roster. But we are putrid when it comes to the uh, tight end position specifically. And for somebody like him with that talent and that skill set to get cut from this team, it's really telling. And I'm hoping that the reason that comes out is more legitimate than, oh, we just wanted to make room for somebody like Drew Sanders, right, or Josh Reynolds, because I feel like there was other guys on this roster that were worth cutting. I would have I would rather them cut somebody like Nate Atkins over him, but I guess we'll see, man. We're kind of getting a really good idea and a good vision of what Sean Payton wants for this team, of what he's thinking is going to be the best situation for this particular team. And that's one thing that I have noticed because he takes it, he's very diligent with those things, right? It's not just about what's the best situation for this particular team. He really does take it on a week to week basis. His, his game plans are very, very specific when it comes to, every single opponent. It's very different. You're starting to be able to see that now because you have a little bit more firepower on offense. But Broncos country, this one hurts, man. This one hurts, and I want to know what you guys think. Let me know below in the comments what you guys think about Greg Dulcich being released. Am I overreacting? Am I not? But let me know. I think I am. I think I'm not. I think I'm very justified with my point of view on that. But anyways, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I wanted to make a quick video just to kind of address that. Go Broncos, baby. Spend time with them people that you love, man. And until next time, peace out.